As Dibs and Willard comes in, they have no idea what we're discussing.
Good morning, guys.
Hey, what's going on, fellas?
Oh, we never do.
Yeah.
We never do.
I don't blame you.
How's it going?
It's going good.
It's going great, man.
It's a nice palate cleanser. Nothing like having San Antonio limp into town and you handle business. And now we can all make plans for the NBA championship parade again because they beat the Spurs.
Well, hold on, because I've heard that a bunch of times this morning. Well, but it was the Spurs.
They stink.
That's all they've been playing all year is teams like that, and they've been getting their butts kicked. So
they played Phoenix, and they played a good Cleveland team.
They went on a road trip. And
I love it, dude. That was great.
I love it.
Just because Dan Dibley doesn't watch other teams, not my fault.
Hey, don't try and drag me with that.
No.
Ever since you hit me to Cleveland, I've been all on Cleveland. Okay?
See, blame your boy, did. Don't clown the Cleveland Cavaliers.
I raised my hand. I have no problem with that.
Cleveland can play, but this team went over on a road trip where they visited Detroit, they visited Charlotte, they visited, where else did they visit?
Detroit, Charlotte, Orlando?
Charlotte,
Detroit, Orlando, Miami.
They're giving up $122 to Sacramento 27 hours ago, and now we're going to go, but it was the Spurs? I'm not dismissing anything. That was a very different basketball team last night, and they had a different lineup.
Why do you
and
think
we need
that?
to discuss it.
Okay, so what do you think? What do you think?
Well, I look.
Because everybody hammers me. I was bringing up, and again, I'm like, look.
Everybody's not hammering you.
No, but I'm saying in general, because I brought this up for a year. I'm like, the Clay thing, it's been tough watch. I throw my hands up and I say, look, from the coaching perspective, when I watch something and it looks a little off, I'm always thinking, all right, how can I tinker, right? And maybe I tinker too much, and other people do. But I'm like, okay, is JP better in the starting lineup? Can Looney come off the bench? Can Clay? Can this guy? Can that guy? And I'm just thinking, how do I maximize the 12 or 13 guys that I think can contribute? And everyone loses their mind because the lineup should be cemented. And all I'm asking is, can we have a discussion?
Well, it's complex. Of course.
We're having that discussion.
Yeah, we're having that discussion.
We're having the discussion.
Curtis said.
See, that's my thing. We can have the discussion, and fans are beating the drum for a pool party in the starting lineup. But Steve was pretty definitive with Damon and Rado saying, this ain't happening. So
twice in 6 days.
Until he really comes out and says, it's something we're going to look at it. I think this is more of a fan discussion.
Well,
I'm here for
Isn't
it.
Steve Kerr transparent?
Yeah,
he's been transparent with everything this season.
Yeah, but he's not going to. I'm not waiting for him to say it publicly. He'd like to say that because he didn't say it publicly means they're not having the discussion behind closed doors also.
I know they're not having discussion
maybe
behind
not
closed doors.
yet. Maybe not yet, but you have to, if you owe it to yourselves as an organization to try to win, so you have to poke around. Look, I'm not on team start Jordan, not yet.
I'm with you. Yeah,
we're not there yet.
Yeah.
Are you with
I said defensively.
Why you guys joke with me? And as soon as I joke with you guys all turn red.
What do you mean, you guys?
You guys all turn red, dude. Oh, man.
I'll just turn my mic off.
No, I'm going to shut up. This guy said, I've been dealing with this for 7 months now.
Both of you run hot.
Both
of you run hot. You just relax.
The Klay Thompson.
I like Jordan Poole. He gives a charisma to this team. When he's playing well, they feel unbeatable.
There's two things going on at the same time, and it's why it's complex. There's basketball, and then there's emotional.
Yes.
Okay? And so I don't know how Clay feels about this. I don't know how the organization feels about this. But here's what last night is going to make us think about. Does starting help Jordan get a flow of the game better? If you've got a second unit that can't play defense, would it be better to put Clay on the second unit rather than Jordan Poole because Clay is a better defensive player? That's the basketball stuff that we're curious about. There's the emotional stuff. There's the reputation stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And that stuff matters too, but that's why we're not there yet. But I'm not going to say we couldn't end up there.
I don't think we're close to that.
I'm with you, Dibs.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But also as a defender, we've all admitted that Clay's not the defender he once was.
That's
still
true.
better than Jordan Poole.
So he's still better than Jordan Poole. But how does
The
Klay
cardboard
Thompson...
cutout's better than Jordan
But I've been
Poole.
trying to make the point
He played
that...
better yesterday, but I'm with you there.
Look, he played better yesterday. And I agree that Jordan Poole right now probably has a better offensive bag than Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson's more of a shooting, catch-and-shoot guy. He's been like that his entire career. Jordan Poole could do more things off the dribble and get to the rack. He facilitates for others. How does putting Klay Thompson hypothetically with the second unit make them better off the bench? I think they're worse as a second unit with Klay Thompson, with the version of Klay Thompson we see right now.
I would try to play him at a stretch 4, and then you have like Kuminga or JMG at the 5, and pull out a weaker defender.
So again,
they're going to put a top defender on Klay Thompson.
We're not there yet. They're not there.
But we can have the conversation,
right? But here's what you sort of wonder when you start to pull all of this apart. First of all, They've clearly got to do something based on how they look the first 13 games. Last night is one piece of data, and so Jordan Poole was right next to Klay Thompson for 13 games in terms of we're all like, this doesn't look right, doesn't look right. Then they changed something, and now it looks very different. It's just one game, so I'm not going to overreact to it, and I don't think they will either. But can we have a conversation? No one wants to do this. This year wasn't supposed to look like this for Klay Thompson. And I don't even mean you're missing some shots. Did you expect when we left here in June that Klay Thompson just for the rest of his career can't play a back-to-back? We can't do that anymore? Well, the whole thing we heard was, hey, this offseason, he's finally going to have some normalcy. And then he's going to be regular Klay in November.
And this is exactly what I expected from Klay Thompson.
But why didn't he?
Yeah, because the mental hurdle.
Coming off of 2 catastrophic injuries, he's not going to ever play the second half of a back-to-back again.
Well, and why would you? When you're a championship team, why do you need to play him on the back-to-back?
And also, we know that load management works, and when you look at an aging player who's had these 2 injuries, and you know that he's going to be better the next game, if he doesn't play, he's not going to play any of the second half of back-to-backs all year.
I get the analytics of his body. Yeah, I get the analytics of his body. It's not that I'm not cool with it. It's that this is not what we expected. And if it's not going to be what we expected, then I think you need to open up to conversations about things that we wouldn't have thought of.
This is exactly what I expected. Now, what I didn't expect is when he actually plays that he would be playing this poorly. I expected him to sit. And by the way, coming up against, I think it's Sunday, they play in New Orleans, second half of a back-to-back. Don't count on Klay playing. And if Klay plays that game, he won't play the game.
Houston, New Orleans, I think. New Orleans is Monday.
Okay, Sunday. So whatever that is, one of those 2 he's going to sit.
And that's just the Sunday, Monday. Can I ask a question? Can I ask quick? Because you make a good point there. Because I was bringing this up when we were talking about the schedule moving forward. I'm like, so is that set in stone? He's not going to play on back-to-backs?
I don't know.
For the foreseeable future.
That's what they said. Okay, I didn't know if there was.
And you know what? And Steph will rest on certain back-to-backs, and Draymond will rest on certain back-to-backs, and you will tank games. The West they're 3.5 back at they're 10th place right now in the West, and they're 3.5 back at the Portland Trailblazers. We all know Portland's not finishing number 1 in the Western Conference.
Well, and I think number 1 in the Western Conference this year won't be 64-18. It'll probably be 55, and the 10th seed might be 45. So you're going to look at so much bunching. To where, shout out Ray Donovan and Bunchy, the younger brother.
By the way, after the season with the Russians, I fell off of Ray Donovan.
Yeah, I actually rode that thing all the way out to the end.
I need
Once Ray's wife died of cancer, spoiler alert, that kind of changed the tenor of the show, but I'm a sucker for that show.
I love Ray Donovan. Bunchy was a great character.
Bunchy was great.
Give me your seeds again there, because I was looking at, and I know the East was different, but the West, I believe 48 wins was the 6th seed last year.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
If you throw Phoenix out, the gap between 2 and 10 last year was about 8 or 9 games, and I think this year is going to be the same.
Okay.
I don't think there'll be an outlier like Phoenix. I don't think any team's going to run away with it. So to Bonte's point, now you've struggled, and you're 3.5 back. You're the 10 seed, and you're 3.5 back.
Real quick breaking news from Adam Schefter, ESPN. Cooper Kupp scheduled to undergo ankle surgery on Wednesday. Kupp is out a minimum 4 weeks. And he's probably done for the season. Rams are cooked.
Rams tanking for the draft. Yeah. Oh, wait. This also the Rams won't draft again until 2027. So.
Willard.
They can't stop Kupp or Coop.
2 years later, you were right. They had to pay the piper, and it's now.
But they got the ball.
At least they got the ball.
I know. They got all over this.
And they're hanging the banner, so I wouldn't be laughing at the Rams too much.
No,
they won 2 Super Bowls since the Niners won their last one.
So I'm not going to laugh. They sold their soul, and then but they got the chip.
Shout out Drake, laugh now, cry later.
Good news for the 49ers now is this paying of the piper is going to last a little while too. This is going to last a little while for the Rams.
Bad news for the Niners. They don't play the Rams again this year. It'd be nice to have a nice, 4-game set against the Rams.
That's worse news for the Rams that they don't play the 49ers again this year.
Don't the Seahawks play the Rams twice now?
Yes.
Oh,
that's too bad.
Yeah, that's too bad for the Niners.
Yes.
Back to Klay for a second. We're discussing his struggles. wouldn't it help him to play alongside Steph Curry? Doesn't he need the gravity more so to Jordan Poole right now at the stage of his career? As again, if you play him off the second unit, he's going to see the best defender on that second unit. And then teams are like, Moody, Kuminga, DiVincenzo, go ahead, shoot. JaMychal Green, go ahead, shoot.
I mean, look, Steve Kerr said from the beginning, you got to tinker with a bunch of different lineups. I'm not here right now to propose anything. I'm here to propose.
But doesn't Clay need Steph more so than JP?
I don't know. Because JP didn't look good with what was going on the first 13 games. Clay doesn't look good.
He's actually looked better with DiVincenzo back.
I mean, now do we go? Look, I understand what ended up happening in the playoffs, but this was something that no one wanted to do last February when Clay returned and the team suddenly got worse for a minute because they were sort of recalibrating, and we understood all of that. I just think if we're going to have an open mind to the idea that one of your supposed key pieces,
the pillars,
doesn't play back-to-backs, that's a very new idea in the NBA. So wouldn't we also be open to some other things that you wouldn't have thought possible? So I'm not anywhere near bench Clay. They aren't either. We're not there. This was one basketball game. But with the way the first 13 games looked, I think it'd be ridiculous to write anything off of the table. What they were doing wasn't working.
Well, I think one of the moves
wasn't working
is James Wiseman going down to the G League.
Yep.
And JaMychal Green's going to play the small ball 5. And you heard Steve Kerr last night say, I did not do any favors to JaMychal Green early in the season. So now he's going to play alongside Jonathan Kuminga as a small ball 5, which he played 5 in college at Alabama. Festus always talks about that. So he's going to play the small ball 5, and now you got JP rolling alongside DiVincenzo, and Moody and Kuminga seems like they're going to get more run. Oh, by the way, Anthony Lamb is now playing.
Yeah, Anthony Lamb.
So now you're starting to see
good, Anthony Lamb.
Now you're starting to see some tweaks with the lineup. The starters have been the best starting 5 in basketball.
Yeah.
So I don't get why messing with the best starting 5 in basketball. They scored 39 points in the
I
first
don't think that's the solution. And for me, it's two things. Does Jordan Poole get helped by being a starter versus does Klay Thompson get hurt by going to the bench? Because if you look at Klay Thompson's career, the only time he's ever come off the bench was his rookie year. Other than that, he started every single game of his career, I think, almost bar none. Steph Curry's come off the bench more times than Klay Thompson has since Klay's come up. So I don't know how important that is to Klay. Only they know that. And how much, does Jordan Poole really benefit from starting? Only they know that also. But to me, it's always been more about the finishing lineup than it is the starting lineup. So this is a debate that we have as fans, but I think internally, they're not gripping over this as much as we are.
I do think the roles evolve over, like Ray Allen started his entire career until he didn't, right? Until he came off the bench. And
we went down to Miami.
There's plenty of other examples throughout the league. I'm just using him as an example because a sharpshooter like Klay Thompson. I do think it matters a lot to him, though. I do. I think that there's an emotional element, doesn't it?
I mean, well, somebody who spent a whole year while not playing, getting totally feathers ruffled about that top 75.
Exactly.
Sure. So, and I don't hate him on him for that. But that's also a huge part of the dynamic of the way we've talked about Klay Thompson over the last year is the fact that he is so accomplished. He's so great.
Decorated.
There's 4 rings. They've been in the finals every time that he's healthy for however many years in a row it is. And so we find it impossible to even say something out loud that sounds like we're not supporting Klay. And I get that.
He did this last year.
He's earned that.
We did it last year when they struggled. His first game.
Not really, though. Not at length.
We did on this show. Oh, man. Are you kidding me? It was, and it's not, and Shasky can have his opinion. I respect his opinion. But we discussed this with Bob Myers. Like, is Klay Thompson going to be part of finishing 5? Is he going to start? Bob's like, it's ridiculous. He's going to play.
Right.
He's going to play. And he started to explode because we had the same. Trust me, Mark. It was the same questions about Klay Thompson when he came back. Like, that was a health thing.
But that was a health thing. Like last year, you could sort of slide it under the covers of. Gosh, Bob, we kind of feel sorry for Klay because it doesn't, think what he's been through.
And then he started exploding.
And he's still been through that, but it's now a year removed, and the Warriors start, last year, he came into a team that was a billion games over 500. Now they're 6-8.
Right.
But we panicked a lot of people panicked those last 2 months. Draymond Green missed 36 games. Steph missed 18 games.
Yeah.
Going into the playoffs, we had no idea what the Warriors were going to look like. No idea. Is Steph's foot going to hold up during the playoffs?
Could they flip the switch?
Could they flip the switch?
Ultimately, they did. And I look at what's right now going on with Klay Thompson, and to me, it's not as much about starting, coming off the bench, finishing, not finishing. It's the way he's playing, and the numbers meet this out. 35% from the floor. He's shooting more threes per game than he ever has in his career.
Wait.
He's shooting 9.6 threes per game right now, which is far and away more. Last year was 9.3. He normally has been in that 7 or 8 range. So now it feels like he's Sir Jack-a-lot. He just wants to. He's trying to jack threes. He's trying to hit 5-run home runs, if I can use the baseball analogy.
That's a good one. Yeah.
He's not doing what he used to do, which is get into the mid-range, dribble, pull up 18-footer.
Yeah, you're right.
Do you know why?
One step
Do you know
in.
why?
One
I mean,
step in,
think about it.
He's chasing.
Well, what? Go to any Y and play basketball. What does everybody do?
Oh,
nobody wants to go in there.
I set screens, Mark, and take charges.
It's harder to go in there.
Anthony Lamb is here. Dan Dibley. Who needs a screen set?
Shuffle.
It hurts to go in there. Injuries happen in there.
I know.
It takes hard work to get in there.
It does.
I did it when I was younger than Clay.
You're a grinder.
I'm gonna stand out here behind this little stripe where you get an extra point and nobody touches you.
See Andre Miller.
So
Don't jump.
Of course he's doing that. But again, at what point do our emotions about the accomplishments of Klay Thompson get in the way of what the team's trying to achieve this year?
And for me, it's not.
That's
we're not
the
to that
discussion.
point.
No,
For
of course
me,
we're not yet.
Where we are, if I was, on the coaching staff, I'd be sitting down and trying to figure out with Klay how we can get his minutes, no matter where they come. How can we get you more productive and get you back to the old Klay? Because field goal percentage, 3-point percentage, all lowest of his career, and by a legion. It's not even close. He's taking bad shots. He's hunting bad shots.
Yes.
He's not playing the way they need him to play. So I start with that. And if he can't grow back into where he needs to be, then we can take a look at what we might tweak in terms of the lineup.
And I admit it, Shasky, I'm open-minded to it, but what does it look like for the rest of the roster? Well, is that the move that's going to help this team take off? Because, again, I go back to the first quarters. It hasn't been a problem for the Warriors.
Yeah, that starting five is, like you said, best lineup in basketball.
By far. But it gets to the second quarter. And then it gets to the end of the third quarter and the beginning of the fourth quarter, and that's where you lose games because all of a sudden you got to come back, and the bench has set them back a little bit. So that's where I'm looking at, the starters, and even JP started last night. We all like, oh, man, JP's season high. 3:54 left in the first quarter. Warriors were down 20-19. All of a sudden, you got a couple threes from Moody and JaMychal Green.
Yeah, but he had 14 in the first quarter, and you're like, he just looks different.
But you had 39 in the first. It looks flashier.
Yes.
It's got more sizzle, which we like.
I think there's more data to be gathered here. But if Jordan Poole is, everyone's talking about playing alongside Steph because that's an advantageous position for a second scorer. If Jordan next to Steph is way better than Klay next to Steph,
that's an interesting one.
Then you're sort of you're hamstrung as a team based on wanting to hang on to the past and then flip it to the other side. Like, I get what you're saying. If Klay Thompson is the leader of the second unit, that feels like a problem.
Yeah, what's the drop off there? That's a good point.
But Jordan Poole on the second unit so far this year has been a problem.
It's been really bad.
So it's the whole picture against the whole other picture.
Yeah.
And last night was one snapshot. Looked a hell of a lot better. But we'll see where it goes next.
That was like an Instagram picture, though, with some crazy filters on it, because you played San Antonio, and they are gone. First time you held an opponent under 100 all year.
And San Antonio lost 5 or 6 coming in. They're not a good basketball team.
It's like you see that supermodel on Instagram. It's like, there's no way your butt looks like that.
But the difference with those teams, Mark,
Yeah.
Orlando, Detroit, Charlotte, they're more athletic than San Antonio. San Antonio has no athleticism. Who's athletic on that team?
I mean,
Keldon Johnson?
Bonte, I can barely name a player on that team. I admit where my weakness is.
Dougie McDermott.
I'll name you a 1994 second baseman on the Giants minor league team. I cannot name a 2022 Spur.
Right. Orlando's a lot more athletic than San Antonio. Detroit's a lot more athletic. Sacramento, a lot more athletic.
Right.
Cleveland, a lot more athletic.
I mean,
athleticism gives the Warriors problems. Not a slow team team like San Antonio.
If athleticism gives you problems, they're in the wrong league. I mean,
like young and athletic speed. You know what I'm saying.
We've seen enough games. We've seen enough games, Bonte.
San Antonio's got slugs out there.
Okay.
They could be the 11th man for
Shout
San
out
Antonio.
to UC Santa Cruz.
Right.
Yes. The mystery spot.
Why San Antonio got 6 wins then? My point is we've seen enough games and enough different style of teams to know that the Warriors have been consistently disappointing this year. Fair?
You got a lot. There's nobody on San Antonio that can blow by anybody on the Golden State
But I'm not going to get to game 14.
Everybody don't have athleticism.
You know what I mean?
You can blow by. Case Cunningham blows by everybody.
Palate cleanser.
Palate cleanser.
You going to
I want to continue to talk about this.
Hey, fellas.
No, I want to hear the Warrior jerseys, because this is an argument me and Bonte were having today. Okay. Do you like the jerseys they have now? This is the first part. And then the second part. Where do you rank their current, the ones they never wear, the white and blue ones that they wear currently, the current logo, the modern logo, in their history of uniforms?
Well, I'm a little bit like Spadoni here in this one where, so many uniforms.
Too many.
I would have to honestly have you produce a picture of all the uniforms.
Okay.
Because they probably have 15 different versions of uniforms. Now, I'll say this. The TMC takeover last night with the old school unis and Tommy T on the sideline, that was pretty cool.
It's pretty cool, right?
Other than Timmy crossing himself over with a bad reference, which he apologized for. I thought that was a fun night. I do like those
lot of
uniforms.
turnovers when you're a Warrior.
Yeah, and you guys were talking before about the ones the women's suffrage with the rose. I like those uniforms.
They look better in person.
Yeah,
they
but
look
I'm
good.
not.
And they were tucked in.
I'm probably more in on the jersey thing than anybody.
You and Guru should do it.
There's no doubt.
You guys are both locked in.
I'm an underrated jersey guy. I think
No,
when the
you
Cowboys
did.
wear their blue jerseys, it takes something away from the Dallas Cowboys. I love jerseys.
Y'all did 13 minutes and I listened to the whole thing. And I just am smiling because I took it almost as education. Because to ask the question you just asked, there's no human being on earth worse than me to ask this question. Because my answer, they could wear pink tomorrow night.
I like pink.
And I'd be like, whatever, just go win the game. Like, I like them all.
Listen.
I don't really care. It's just like, it's interesting. I know you're merchandising, right? There's
killing it.
throwbacks. There's the current. There's
Paul Lucas, one of the great sites on Twitter, who breaks down every single uniform, the patch, the piping, everything about it. Paul Lucas. Great follow when it comes to uniforms. Great.
How many do they have?
So here's the modern one.
Have they worn the same uniform twice this year?
They wore the white modern jerseys.
These ones.
Now that he's showing me those, I don't love the white ones.
That's what, and I'm not trying to hate. Yeah. I just think of all their uniforms, it might not be even in their top 5.
I think the underrated one that I like that doesn't really fit their color scheme is, and I'm going to borrow from Gabe Kapler, slate.
No. I love the slate. The town slate ones are sweet.
And I love the court the other night with the suffrage.
So cool.
And like the gray court. Yes, that was really kind of a good look. But I'm kind of with Mark when it comes to uniforms. It's like,
uniforms matter. I think uniforms matter.
It's not that they don't matter, but
it's a different swag.
That's a 4.
If it matters to them,
think about it.
You watch college football players, Oregon comes out with a new uniform every single week, and if you watch the players' reaction when they come see the uniforms, it jacks them up, man.
Yeah,
they get into it, so that's fine.
The Denver Broncos, zero swag with their uniforms. The white jerseys with the blue pants that they wore against Tennessee.
I'm with you.
They need to go back to the classic orange with the light blue, with the OGD on the helmet.
But wouldn't you like the uniform a lot better if they could ever score 20 points?
No.
I'm with you there.
That's my thing.
Oregon's highlighter uniforms look a lot better when they're putting a 50 burger on somebody.
Totally. So, I'm not saying you're wrong. Uniforms matter. The merchandising, people love it.
You look good, feel good.
I'm with you, B.
If they came out in Phoenix tomorrow night wearing polka dots, I'd be like, let's make popcorn and watch
I like the classics. Like Penn State comes out in their classic. The New York Yankees have the classic. We got the grays and the pinstripes.
I agree.
And the rest of it, go ahead and leave it alone. But
certain teams need to stick to the script
and
just go traditional, like the Raiders.
Like the City Connect Giant uniforms, the orange, those have grown on me.
They've grown on me too,
and I like them. I'm not anti different uniforms, but sometimes I do get uniform fatigue.
I heard from a birdie, whether here or there, the Giants are going to unveil at some point an alternate jersey of the 1980s Giants attitude, hum baby Giant jerseys.
Okay.
You saw a lot of them at the dugout store. I've heard from a birdie in the know.
Look at you.
I don't know about Aaron Judge and hiring a real estate in Danville, but I've heard from someone in the know, you will see the curvature Giants, hum baby. I don't even know, am I describing it right?
Yeah.
Giants attitude.
I think, people know. Huh?
Yeah, the Roger
baby.
Craig era.
Will Clark.
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
Yeah.
They're going to unveil those for this upcoming season.
Beautiful. I like that.
At some point.
And he got a real estate agent in Danville? I don't know if he can afford Danville.
I heard from a couple different people
out there.
I heard, and again, I don't even want to go to air with this. It's so stupid. They're like,
That's too
hey,
late.
I know that I heard from people he signed a real estate agent. I'm like, well, you don't sign a real estate agent. But anyway, he's working with a real estate agent in Danville. That's the rumor.
Okay.
That's the rumor.
Get him on. Get the real estate agent on for Aaron Judge.
seriously.
Well, if he's smart, he's using Stephanie Talliot. Hi, I'm Dan Dibley. Whenever I need to buy a house.
Who's
the guy that you have to sell your house to who's always doing it here? Come on.
It's like Johnny buys houses or whatever. I will
if you're
buy
looking
your
to sell,
house.
yes, and you can move to Lathrop.
You could break all the windows. I'll still buy it.
Who is
it's
Coda-
River Island.
River Island.
River Island.
$1 million
gonna go
living
full
for half
circle.
the price.
Which real estate agent is Kodai Senga using? Which one is he going to use?
Look at you.
Yeah.
No clue.
Okay. Anyway.
If he's smart, you know what he's using.
I say this.
Stephanie Talliot.
When you said,
You're
hey,
welcome.
the classic, right? The Yankees have the pinstripes and it's true. But have you noticed this? And I think this is an analytics conversation too. Every sports fan thinks that when they were 25, that's when everything rocked.
Yeah, it was perfect.
And so, for instance, when the Warriors wear Run TMC, and Run TMC is literally broadcasting the game, I have two sons who couldn't give a rip. They have no clue.
He didn't care at all?
They don't know.
That's bad parenting.
That-
You
no,
got to
parenting.
educate
That's on
the
you, Mark.
youth.
They
I'm with
know.
you, Dibs. That's on you, Mark.
No,
Because every
they
kid out there
know.
last night was saying those Run Team jerseys were
Let's
great. And they
find out.
know
No,
all
stop
the
it.
kids.
You've
all the
never
kids.
had a 15-year-old. You don't know.
I promise.
You
I
don't
swear
know.
to God, those little kids that come to
Tell
the
them
gate
the
house
90s are back
all
in.
rocking Millie jerseys.
Of
They're
course,
all rocking Millie
yes,
jerseys.
because
They're
someone
they
bought
love
it
the Run
for
Team.
them.
But
If
no,
I
they
bought my
know.
son my
But Mark,
15-year-old
that's
son,
bad parenting.
No.
Don't blame the other kids.
Bonte.
That's bad parenting.
Stop.
All the kids, they know who Run Team C is. All
Bonte.
the kids know.
Bonte.
Little Matthew, who lives next door to me, out there in Bruno, knows who Run Team
I usually
C
go
is.
with little Timmy.
Bad parenting.
Matthew's a real
When
person.
you- let me know when you're
calls
done with
in.
your rant. Let me know when you're done.
I'm
with your
done.
rant.
I'm just
Okay.
saying it's bad
All right.
parenting.
right.
Dibs,
But
you
you-
was-
Shout out
Your
Kevin
kids
Durant.
didn't care?
I'm kidding, but you're serious.
No, I am serious.
Once you've ever
That's
had a
bad parenting.
teenager, call me back and let me know how it's going. The point is, it's not that they don't know who the three guys are, but that uniform doesn't do anything
No
to them.
sentimental value
That
for
doesn't
them.
make the hair on the back of their neck stand
Yeah.
up.
Right.
But I'm telling you, Giant City Connect, when those
Yeah.
kids...
Oh, my God.
Listen to me.
it's-
Let me finish a sentence for once. When those guys get to 50
You always
years old,
talk for 5
Bonte...
minutes, so I got to break it up.
Bonte, when they get to 50 years old, they're going to be like, oh, those Giants creamsicles.
Yes.
Right? We do this with
no names
analytics
on
all
the
the
back.
time. We do this with analytics all the time. We're doing it with roughing the passer now. We think that sports stopped when we were 25 and it should never change. But that's not real. That's
year.
not reality.
Yeah.
We're doing it with Klay Thompson
It's
right now.
everything. It's music
We're
the same
living-
way.
music,
Movies the
exactly.
same way. It's like, these Marvel movies are crap. Whatever happened to the
like
old
Marvel.
Superman, the original
Yeah, I
Superman?
do like
you know
the
what I mean?
original.
It's like-
I do like the original.
Coming out.
So
Shout
you
out
see it
before
coming on
Dawn.
YouTube. So if the Yankees came out wearing all dark blues, you don't think the teenagers think that's cool?
No.
They
I
do.
think the teenagers are going to be
I
irate.
You know what I'll say?
I was a
No,
teenager when the
no,
Niners switched their uniforms in the mid-'90s, and I said, this is a mistake. This is awful.
Wait.
Now, I still bought a jersey, but I still thought it was awful.
What about the Sandlot game? Did your kids, because the Yankees went to some retro jerseys versus the White Sox. What was that game called? Come on.
It was not the Little League game, but that was the
when
Field
they
of
went to
Dreams.
Field of
Iowa.
Dreams game.
Field of
Thank you,
Dreams
Dibs.
game. Yeah.
Because I thought, I was like, oh my God, those Yankee jerseys are ridiculous. I don't. Did your kids get nostalgic for that
Oh,
game?
they love the Field of Dreams
Me
game.
too.
They love the Field of Dreams game.
Interesting. So they're in on that, but not on the Run TMC.
We sat when it was coming. See, here we go.
Call
Yeah.
child services.
Hashtag good parenting.
Yes.
I sat them down and had them watch
There you
Field
go.
of Dreams
That's a
before
good
they came.
comeback
There we
right
go.
there.
Thank
It's a good parenting
Way to
comeback.
redeem
Do
yourself.
something.
Way to redeem yourself like a Dumb and Dumber.
I'll
Shout out
get
to
you
the Redeem Team.
the bumper sticker, hire a teenager while they know everything. It's the most
Exactly.
factual thing of all time.
Exactly. No, listen. There's a cool factor to changing the uniform every single week.
Right.
They dig it.
Yeah.
They absolutely dig
Yeah.
it. They don't want classic.
It's because
What
they
is
have
the
no
word
attention
classic?
span. That's
exactly.
why. No
Word classic.
attention span.
Use the word classic with a teenager, Bonte. See what happens. Nobody cares about classic.
I do it all the time. I do it all the time. Hey, man, that's
What
a
are you
classic
doing with
Jersey.
teenagers right
They
now,
come by the
Bonte?
gay house to say hi.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I love the kids. I love the kids.
That just got weird.
I love the kids. Well, you said it, not me.
Like, what?
You said it, not me to come by the gay house. Say
Teenagers
hello,
all the
boys
time.
and girls.
You don't have any teenagers.
No, see, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. It's because you're not educating your kids.